Okay, so welcome back, everyone. We hope you enjoyed the film. We're gonna start a short Q&A from the audience in 5 minutes or less. We're gonna have some. We have some questions for you, the audience, to engage with.
Okay, so we have a few comments here. One, it's so wonderful to hear all of these stories, the good and the bad. Hearing your voices makes the experience real for others. The pandemic has been isolating for all of us. Thank you so much for sharing and for putting this all together.
Thank you.
Another comment, this is amazing work. Congrats on taking the lead to document this important time in history. It'd be great to hear from the same people now. Any plans to have them share their thoughts on another short material? That's interesting. Yeah, maybe we could have another after kind of the aftermath with all of the same folks. Let me just see if anyone has hands up. Here's a question. Was it hard listening to some of their stories? John Carlos, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, so yes, because like sometimes like I'm a person where I don't like when somebody like really tells me how they feel, like say somebody passed away or something, like I don't really know how to come about that because like yeah, like that's a loss in somebody's like life. So it's hard to hear that and to kind of respond to it. Especially when you're recording them and like they know you're recording them. It's like it kind of makes things a little bit different than if you were actually in person talking to that person. You know, but it wasn't really all that hard. I really liked it. I enjoyed it. I was able to just know what they were going through.
Yeah. So there's another question. How did you find the people to interview? Do you want to say anything about that, John Carlos, or do you want me to take it?
Yeah, you could say. Yeah.
Yeah. So we did put out some like general calls with, we had a little online flyer that we would distribute through social media, and we got one or two people from that. But honestly, most of the people just came through our personal networks because that was the way we could find people. Yeah, I think people always respond more to like a personal request from someone they know. And a lot of people actually said that they were going to be interviewed and then didn't follow through with it too. So I think it's a lot to be on camera and have it be recorded. And also to share personal stories. So we reached out to a lot of people, and a lot of people declined, and then a lot of people said yes too. So this says, thank you for that window into young people's lives during COVID. How would you like to see this film distributed and shared or archived? So yeah, we agree that like kind of forefronting a little bit a lot of the youth stories was an important aspect of this. So we will be sharing this through obviously Holyoke Media and the other cable access stations. In a few minutes, we're also going to talk about a local archive that's happening through the Wisteria Hearst Museum. So this film will be a part of that. And the video will be online in full, available on YouTube and just kind of accessible to the public. But if anyone else wants to help us distribute it kind of further and has any good ideas, please let us know. And here's a question. What did you personally learn from this? What do you think, John Carlos?
So personally, I learned that everyone is going through something way different, and like everyone's stories kind of like not the same, but like everyone's going through the same, like COVID, but everyone has different things they have to deal with in life. Like they have to carry on different things on their shoulders. So like I feel that from learning all this, I feel that the same. Like I feel like I'm carrying things on my shoulder sometimes, like a lot of different things, and I have to juggle around and stuff like that. And it's just part of life.
Yeah. And I think for me, it was important for me to do this in Hampden County versus Hampshire County, for example. I feel like in Hampshire County, a lot of people are, certainly inconvenienced by the pandemic and had hardships, but, in Hampden County, it's a lot more diverse area. certainly not as wealthy as Hampshire County. And this pandemic really affected people in so many ways. It's just, it adds so much stress on top of all the existing stress. And so, yeah, I think just hearing people's personal stories about that, drives that home. So, okay. So that's all of the things that I'm seeing, and I'm not seeing any hands up. So the next thing is we actually have 2 questions for you, the audience. And what we're going to try to do here is create in real time a live word cloud with your answers to the questions. So I'm going to put a link into the chat, and I'm also going to explain this. Okay, so if people can, if you can see in the chat, but I'll also say it, if you have a phone handy, you could also do it on your computer, but I think it will be easier with a phone, but you can do any device. You want to go to menti.com, menti.com, and you don't have to enter in any information or sign up for anything. It's just free and anonymous. And then you're going to enter this code 2951076. And I'm also going to share my screen and give you the prompt there. Okay, so hopefully you can all see this. So again, you're at menti.com, menti.com, and you want to type in this code 2951076. And that you should then see this question come up for you. So the question is, in one word, what was a hardship that came from the pandemic that affected you personally? And so you can answer up to 3 times, 3 different answers, but each time you just want to answer with one word. So you might have to be a little bit creative on what you choose. So we'll give you a moment to fill that out. And then we should see live on my screen, people's answers come up. And again, it's completely anonymous. And the bigger words will be words that more than one person has chosen. Wow, thank you everyone for sharing. So the big ones that we see: loss, fear, isolation, anxiety, paranoia, depression, separation, distance. So a lot of shared experiences. I'm gonna take a quick screenshot too. All right, so the next, we have one more question then. There we go. And so now you should be able to, on your phone or your tablet or device, answer this next question. In one word, what was a good thing that came from the pandemic that affected you personally? And same thing, one word, you can answer up to 3 times if you like. You don't have to. And we'll see your responses live. Oh, nice. Thanks everyone for sharing. I'll take another screenshot. So the main ones: reflection, family, perspective, growth, kindness, caring, love.
I see you still going in there.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Sharon.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing my screen now. Okay, so yeah, it's very clear that this pandemic has been such an unusually universal experience and that we've all gone through. It's impacted each and every one of us, though in different ways and certainly not equal ways, but we do all have stories. And, as kind of was the focus of our project, collecting and sharing these stories is therapeutic for the now and for our own processing and healing. And it's so important to kind of archive for the future. So at this point, I was going to introduce Penny Marturell from the Wisteria Hearst Museum in Holyoke, but unfortunately she had a family emergency and isn't able to attend. For the past 12 years, Penny has been Holyoke's city historian and the Wisteria Hearst Museum curator. So she was going to tell you all about the COVID community collection, which is essentially an archive that anyone can contribute images to, videos, documents, poems, really anything. So stories that are somehow related to Holyoke, whether the person lived in Holyoke, works in Holyoke, goes to school in Holyoke, shops at Holyoke, had an experience there, whatever. So even though Penny can't be here in person, we're just going to show you 3 minutes of an interview clip that she did with Johan Rashi Vega, also of Holyoke Media, where she just talks a little bit about the archive. So Scott, if you could please go ahead and roll that clip, that would be great. And we'll just watch the first 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Penny Marturell. I'm the curator at Wisteria Hearst, and I'm also Holyoke City historian. And in collaboration with my director, Kate Preisler, we decided to see what we could put up online to capture what's happening with people locally and how they're feeling and what kind of things they want to share and hold in memory for the community later.
It is really amazing to be able not only to have history under your research and your custody, but now this amazing, possibly once in a lifetime opportunity of writing and documenting history as it happens.
Exactly. And part of this comes from, being a historian and being exposed to people's journals and daily writings from the past. Sometimes when you look at those things, they're just mundane things that they wrote about what the weather was and where they were and who they were with and where they went. Doesn't seem very exciting. But in retrospect, you realize that some of the things that they experienced were unique for that time. And we are in a very, very unique position right now of what the United States is going through and our communities are going through right now is unprecedented. And so we had to figure out some way to capture something of that and to hear the community's voice, because what I see is one thing, but what you see is another thing, and how it affects individuals is very different.
So this idea of creating a collective memory that could be also part of the history, what exactly means for the community to be able to participate, because this is pretty much an open invitation for everyone in the Holyoke community to contribute with its own story, part of the history.
Right. So we are a community archive. Taxpayer dollars go to keeping the history that we keep. And so rather than being a gatekeeper and deciding what needs to be saved, we're really looking to the community to tell us what is meaningful to them. And we would love to get a cross view of older folks, younger folks, different communities in the different neighborhoods, how it's affecting families, how it's affecting school children, elders, all those kinds of points of view, because that's what makes history so rich, is when you have the more point of views to see how it's not only one line of story. There's multiple stories that can be told.
All right. Thanks so much, Scott, for playing that. And I'm going to put another link in the chat box, which is the link to the Wisteria Hearst archive. So we would encourage anyone on this call, or please, let folks that you know of, let them know about this opportunity to submit stories. I think they haven't received as many as they were hoping to, and this really is such an unprecedented time, and the things that seem so mundane now are really going to be impactful and so informative for the future. Oh, and one cool thing too about their archive is that they're not going to open it up and share it until May of 2025. So it's essentially like a 5-year time capsule.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today and participating today. It's so great to share these stories and connect with you all today. We're going to be sending out a video link to this recording of the full film soon.
Yeah, and thank you so much to Holyoke Media for hosting this. Thanks to the Spiffy Coalition for getting the word out. And the Collaborative for Educational Services and Spiffy recommended another link that I'm going to put in the chat box, which is to the Massachusetts Department of Public Health COVID-19 Community Impact Survey. It's a really big document, hundreds of pages, but very accessible and readable, with so much statistics and information about how COVID has been affecting people across the state. There's a lot of great information about how it's affecting youth as well. So a super useful resource. Lastly, I want to say a huge thank you to our funders, the Markham Nathan Fund for Social Justice, the Carlos Vega Fund for Social Justice, Art Angels, Holyoke Cultural Council, and the Grassroots Fund. So these funders helped provide meaningful paid work and hands-on experience for our 3 youth filmmakers, which was especially helpful during a pandemic.
For sure. And thank you, everyone, again, for joining. We're going to end the call here. If anyone wants to stay a little bit longer, any questions, anything, Ali and I will be available at the end, so feel free to stay on for a few minutes. Well, thank you again.
Okay, thanks, everyone. Take care.